It's Jackyl right here on your classic metal show from their self-titled debut release. As Chris informed me today, 28 years ago today. They released it on July 4th.
That's what I was told.
All right. 28 years.
That's a long fucking time, isn't it?
Yeah, it's longer than I've been doing the CMS.
And I love the Jackyl though.
I do. I'll tell the story. I know I've probably told this story on the show before. I remember hearing Jackyl for the first time. This was back in 93, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm.
And I was driving a truck and I was driving through Nashville, and they had a rock station in Nashville. I'm trying to remember what the call letters were at the time, but I remember for the first time, Jesse James was live in the studio with the DJ. It was an evening show.
Okay.
And he was there promoting the release of the Jackyl self-titled release. And it just caught my ear. And he just was this kind of this good old country boy, the Southern,
sure.
God forbid, Confederate flag waving, guy. And it was just all about, the good rock and roll, just bass, guitar, drums, vocals, kind of an AC/DC vibe. And I was just like, these guys kick ass. And mind you, this was in the 90s when the grunge thing already kicked in.
Right.
And they were doing classic metal, classic hard rock, whatever you want to call it at the time. And I was just like, man, these guys kick ass. And then, of course, MTV, who was still playing music videos.
Mm-hmm.
They had several music videos, and one of them featuring John Kalodner, who was hugely behind the Jackyl release because, at the time, John Kalodner still had a lot of clout, and he was kind of a hit maker for bands.
Sure.
And he was behind like Sammy Hagar. He was behind Dokken. He promoted a lot of shit. And for 93, for Jackyl to come out and be as successful as they were, having MTV videos, getting songs played on commercial radio, and still being a viable style of music at that time, they bucked the trend.
They did. And they got perfect storm too with the debut. The debut, you had Kalodner, who was still a huge name. Actually, because of grunge, the fact that they debuted with big money behind them because of Kalodner actually helped them, because they were like the last of what they were washing away.
Exactly.
But it was new. It wasn't Guns N' Roses anymore. It was something new. So that was helpful for them. And people forget this, but me being the dork that I am, they also wrote in that album with the hottest producer at the moment, which was Brendan O'Brien, who had done Pearl Jam. He had done Pearl Jam's 10 album as well. And he did like the mix or the producing or something with that album, with the Jackyl record. And so his presence when Pearl Jam was blowing up actually gave them some more steam as well. It was really a perfect storm for them to have success.
Okay.
What's funny is you're going to laugh. I didn't like Jackyl at first.
Oh, I loved them. The minute I heard them, I was just like, I was hooked.
Remember, maybe you have this, maybe you don't. Do you ever have songs where when you hear it the first time, you don't like it, but you sort of keep listening to it anyway?
Yeah, sure.
That was me with the Lumberjack song. Lumberjack song was the first song I heard. And and I'll be honest, even now, I'm not a big fan of the
but the thing that captured my attention with Lumberjack is when the music starts and Jesse James goes, ha ha.
Yeah.
That's the thing that caught my attention immediately.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was a fun song, but I just thought it was way too gimmicky.
Yeah, it was gimmicky. I agree.
but then I think the second song I heard was "I Stand Alone" or something,
Right.
and I really liked that. And then I went to the store and saw that they had a song singing about cocks, and I was like, "Oh, I got it."
She loves my cock.
So I, of course, bought the. Remember, at the time, that wasn't on all of the records either.
True.
They had the clean version and the dirty version,
Right.
and you had to actually, if I remember right, I bought it at like Peaches, and I had to ask for the dirty version because they only had the clean version out on the floor.
Yeah, and the whole thing is that they made a video that made fun of the whole PMRC thing.
Right. Mm-hmm.
The guy was walking around with a trench coat with like CDs, the long box CDs under his coat. Hey man, you want to buy some music?
It's too funny. Yeah. And we've had fun with Jesse, obviously.
Oh, dude, I've hung out with Jesse probably on a half a dozen of occasions, and obviously you and I hung out with him at USA Rock.
Yeah.
And drank his horrible booze.
Drank his horrible booze. Me and Scotty smoked his bass player's weed. We had a lot of fun with those guys.
We did.
But always my favorite though, and if you can find it quick, find it. But if not, you know, my favorite of all time is and it really was honestly, I think it was the very, very spark of what this show is now. Was that night when
we were goofing on it.
Well, we were goofing because Jesse was late for his interview, and I started doing the impression of Jesse, and you actually said something about like that was totally not FCC friendly. You were
right. I did. I said I'm gonna fire up this chainsaw and
rip him a new asshole or something.
Rip you a new asshole.
And you just an asshole was clearly not a word that we were allowed to have on. Certainly not on school radio, no less.
No.
But I think asshole was an FCC violation too that you just didn't get caught with. But
yeah, I think. But we were doing it like at 1:00 in the morning.
Yeah, but it
was beyond safe harbor.
Right. It was, but it was still. It was way. If Bob Long would have heard that would have been the end of the CMS before you ever got started.
I'm gonna rip you a new asshole.
All right, Neeley, you're gonna have to leave now. I'm Bob Long.
Right. True.
But yeah, this was. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, this is either the first or the second time I ever appeared on the show, isn't it?
True.
It was like I think it might have been the first time I ever appeared on the show.
Yeah. We were just kind of cutting up. I was actually supposed to have Jesse on the show live and he missed his interview, and you go, well, you don't need to interview him. I'll just fill in, and you just started riffing like Jesse.
Yeah. Have you heard this, Sal?
No.
I don't have it. I do have it, but I don't have it here.
No.
Oh.
I saw those guys.
Oh, wait a minute. I do have it. I do have it, I think.
It's so funny listening to this now because we both sound so young.
I have it.
What year is this? Do you have that?
This was 2000 and I think it was 2001 or 2002.
Wow.
Long time ago.
Let me see here. Let's just looking for this. Neeley and Chris, Vince Neil, long-haired Mike. That's not it. I'm going through these real quick. Let's see here. Girl Money, Neeley and Chris on Music's Bottom Line, Bob Long, Twisted Sister, Mike, Back for More. That's we're goofing on Papa Chuck Myden, Lakewood, Cock Exploding, Chuck Negron.
Gotta be there.
Let's see here. It's Badlands. Where the hell is this?
One.
Chris on Dave Mustaine. What is this here? Death Angel. Oh, here we go. I got it.
Got it.
Here it is.
Good.
All right. This is very, and we've played this before, but this is really early when Chris and I really didn't know that each other really that well.
Yeah.
But we kind of realized we had a little bit of chemistry. And this, I believe this is about 2000, like
It's
2000.
2002. It's 2002 because we were talking during the Relentless. He was calling in to promote Relentless, and that's 2002.
Yeah. All right. So here's Chris and I off the cuff, just riffing. We had nothing planned, and we were just
didn't know each other. We didn't even know each other, really.
And we just started riffing, and this is kind of where you and I realized that we just sort of had a chemistry.
Yeah.
So this was almost 20 years ago. This was 18 years ago.
Yeah. Wow.
Jesus.
All right. So here you go.
It's Jesse James Dupree from their self-titled debut release. It's Jackyl with Dirty Little Mind, and we're going to be talking with Jesse James tonight at 11:30. He's already called in once tonight, said, I'll be damned if I'm going to miss this interview. I tell you what, Neeley, I'm going to be there, Neeley. As soon as that clock hits 11:30, you better bet that Jesse James Jack will be there for you. Woo! Hey, we might as well not even call him. We'll just interview you. I'm ready to do it. I got this album, Neeley, called Relentless. It's because I'm relentless on that stage. Relentless, I tell you. Woo! Let me crank up that chainsaw and rip your new asshole. Woo! If push comes to shove, I'm going to show you what shoving is, because I'm Jesse James. Woo! Dupree! Jackyl! So we're going to be talking to Jesse James tonight. We'll be talking about the new Relentless. He's in the studio tonight doing some recording. So he says, just call me up. I'll be on the radio with you all tonight. Yeah. All right. So 11:30. Yeah. We'll be talking with Jesse James.
The whole
Sounds like Flair.
but that was you just stepping into the studio to promote Music's Bottom Line, your magazine. Yeah. And we were just cutting up and here's the backstory. Jesse was supposed to call the show the week before,
right?
And he totally forgot. And he didn't call the show. So his publicist was just like, oh, I'm really sorry. Jesse forgot, or, got misscheduled or whatever. He'll do the show tonight. So just to make sure everything was set up, Jesse called the studio and said, I just want to make sure this is the number. I'm in the studio tonight. I'm recording. I'll call you at 11:30. And we'll do it. But then you came down to the studio and you were promoting Music's Bottom Line's latest release. And then we just kind of started riffing about the whole Jackyl thing.
Right.
And that's how that just sort of like morphed into the whole ad lib Jackyl.
Well, and the funny thing is, at that time, that incarnation of the classic metal show before me, before Chris.
Yeah, before Chris. Yeah, CMS BC.
Yeah, CMS BC. On CMS BC, there was almost no talking. You played about 70 songs a show.
Pretty much, because, the only people I had to rely on was Papa Chuck Maiden, which was somebody you introduced me to.
Yeah.
And Little Mike, who was a big fan of the show and who just kind of wanted to come down to the studio and hang out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't want to be on the mic for the most part.
Right.
Kind of gradually got on the mic a little bit.
But not much.
And then Big Mike, who was a truck driver, he would stop down periodically and just kind of hang out. But he only wanted to hang out because he just wanted to listen to the tunes.
And the weird thing about Big Mike, hold on. Let's not just gloss over Big Mike and the fact that his intestines were fucking hanging out of his stomach.
Yeah, he had the distended belly button.
Oh, fuck.
And he had no problem showing that off either. You would see it and he'd be like, oh, you want to see this shit? And then, hey, look at that. And it's like, whoa, what the fuck? Get some surgery, dude.
Right.
Jesus Christ.
So he had a hernia in the belly button, more or less.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then you had Randy, and Randy didn't really want to. All Randy wanted to do is sit in the parking lot, get high.
Yeah, he
And-
went to smoke his weed.
Rocket Randy.
Yeah, Rock Randy.
Randy would go out in the parking lot, get high, come back in, listen to Neeley. Neeley's whole commentary would be stuff like, "Hey, that was Y&T, and you know, speaking of Y&T, they're going to be over at the SOS Lounge on Friday, and I'm going to be out there to see them, and I'm hoping that it's a good show because Dave Menichetti's usually great. Now let's get back to the music. Here's some Rat." I mean, that was really it. And then it would be Randy or Chuck would go on your classic metal show.
Right.
And that was about all of the interaction there was. And then all of a sudden I come in and me and you just started riffing.
Yeah, because you could talk.
Well, because at the time I was doing the metal show on WMMS.
Yeah, but the other guys had the fear of the mic, and they just couldn't like step in there or say anything. And it was just like, oh, I'm trying to carry the show, and I'm trying to get a little interaction here. And these guys would just like, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's like,
I'm going too, Neeley. That was it. And then I got there and I damn near pushed them out of the way. I was like, you get out of it. I think by the end of the show, they were all standing at the door and I had the whole second half of the studio.
well, you would come in, the studio was set up with 2 mics, and
Yeah.
you would take the second mic,
Mhm.
and the other guys would just kind of stand along the back wall
Yeah.
and just watch.
Just watch the greatness unfold.
And I tried to include those guys as often as I could, but they just would not put anything into the show. They would not have any input.
They just didn't get it. And meanwhile, you and I would just, every time I came down there, because then we started trying to get me down there about once a month.
Yeah, and you did, because
Yeah.
the Music's Bottom Line came out once a month.
Right. At the beginning. Yeah. So we were coming down to promote it once a month and you and I would just riff and
Yeah,
it still
Shut
wasn't
up and talk and just shoot the shit about stuff, and the other guys would just kind of chime in periodically, but nothing. And it was just like, okay, let's
Yeah.
and I tried. I mean, I had Rock and Randy came down as a co-host, and he just didn't really have a lot going on, and Little Mike would have a little bit of input but not very much. And then you introduced me to Chuck because he was a hardcore Music Bottom Line guy, and he would do some interviews for you and distribute the magazine. And you got I need to introduce you to my friend Chuck. I think he would make a good co-host because he's really interested in this. And then I got Chuck down there, and he was just like, yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say.
it was amazing to me that these guys didn't want to talk because it was fun. And it's really funny because even when we play these segments, that's about how much talking we did. Even back then, that was a lot of talking for that show.
Yeah, pretty much.
And what was that segment? 2 minutes or a minute or something?
It was like just under 2 minutes.
Yeah, and that was a lot of talking on the show.
Yeah, it was. I agree.
And then, but it just got to, you and I just got to be friends, and I had a lot of stories and you had a lot of stories, and I would prod you to tell some stories and you would prod me to tell stories. And again, it was the genesis to this because we never planned anything.
No,
never. And
I mean, again, I didn't really know you that well at that point, but you would come down and you would step up to the mic and we would just start riffing about stuff, and it just turned into something.
And it was always, it's funny because we don't do a ton of this now, but it was always like impressions or singing bits or, the back for more thing. That was just off the cuff. We were at the end of the show trying to get the fuck out, for God's sakes. And out of the blue, we were making fun of Chuck, and I started making up lyrics to Back for More.
Well, let's kind of give people the genesis because, obviously everybody's not from Cleveland.
Sure.
But you had the Music's Bottom Line.
Yeah,
which was a monthly magazine.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And everybody who contributed to the magazine did it out of the passion of enjoying the music.
Yeah, it was definitely not a moneymaker.
No, there was no money involved. But because of the magazine and your connections, you got tickets to shows and you go, hey, I know you're a fan and they're coming to a, local venue, whatever band it was, or artist or something. And you go, hey, if you want to go review the show, I got a couple of tickets. You want to go?
Right.
So people would go to the show free, review the show, write a little write-up, submit it to you. You'd put it in the magazine, and that's how you got your content.
Right.
And so people, how many people do you think were involved with the magazine, total, as far as like your writers, contributors, whatever?
There was a lot. There was like 20. There was a lot of writers because music's bottom line did not just stick to metal either.
Yeah, you did the whole music thing, the whole genre, everything.
Yeah, I'm sure you remember I interviewed Britney Spears and Backstreet Boys and all kinds of bands.
Right. So it was just an all-encompassing magazine for the music entertainment of the Cleveland area. That included Cleveland, Akron, Canton, the surrounding areas. And, the fans, the fans who had a little bit of ability to write, they would write up a review or an interview or a concert review or a CD review, and they would submit it and you'd put it in the magazine and you'd put that all together and release that in print form once a month. And then everybody who was involved with the magazine would come and get their bundle of magazines and distribute it in their local area. I would come and get a bundle of magazines and I would take it to Digital Days, or I would take it to Quonset Hunt or anything like that, somewhere that was close to me, and I would drop off 50 copies here, 50 copies there.
Right.
And everybody did that. Everybody contributed. So you, how many magazines do you think you printed on a monthly basis?
20,000. I know how many.
Okay, 20,000.
Yeah.
So I would get about 1,000 magazines, and I would drop, I would take 50 or 100 copies here and there, and I would make 10 or 15 stops.
Right.
And I would drop it off, and our friends Chuck would do that, and everybody else who was involved, they would all drop off 50, 100, 200 copy, whatever it was, to their local area. Or our friend Chuck, who was big music fan, loved the classic rock, classic metal, whatever you want to call it. He had an area that he would cover, and one of the areas was called Lakewood. It's a part of Cleveland. It's a suburb of Cleveland. And it was kind of known as a gay area.
Right.
And everybody kind of knew it. It was kind of like if you live in Chicago at all, and Sal lives in Chicago, but he knows that Wrigleyville is kind of a gay area, right? Am I right, Sal?
East of that.
It's Boys Town, right?
Yeah, directly east, between Wrigley and the lakefront. But you're right on the north coordinates there. Yep. It was Parade Central. 3 weeks ago.
That means anything to me or any of our listeners. Because I'm not from there. I don't give a shit about that.
Yeah.
I don't care. But people who live there know a little bit about it.
Yeah.
And you and I kind of knew that, it was kind of known that, Lakewood was kind of a gay area.
How many blocks long was that, guys? I mean, was it like, because by us, it's
Lakewood?
It's not, it's not huge, the area that I was referring to in terms of what Neeley was asking me. I mean, talking about a block or two it's
bigger than that. It's like a city.
Oh shit. Okay. All right.
So
what would you say with Lakewood, Neeley? About what?
I would say it's probably about 6 to 8 blocks worth, maybe.
6 by 6 or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
The car thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got you.
So we were kidding our friend Chuck. We called him Papa Chuck because he had like 8 kids or something.
7 or 8 kids. It was ridiculous. And he wasn't even old. He was like 30 years old or something. He had 8 kids.
Yeah, his wife banged out a kid like every 12 months.
Yeah, his wife was either pregnant or stitched. I mean, always.
And you're laughing, Sal, but this is absolutely true.
Tired
Chuck might have been 30 years old, and he had 7 children already.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And it was like, this is fucking ridiculous.
Oh, I think I remember you talking about this.
And so Chuck was like a hardcore music's bottom line contributor. He loved to go to shows. He was all about the rock and roll, not so much about the kids or the wife or the family. He fucked the wife, got her pregnant, and it's like, yeah, I'm going to a show.
Yeah. Yeah, because he was never home. He was always out at shows.
Well, that's because he was avoiding going home.
Yeah. I bet.
So Chuck would come down to the show pretty religiously. He would come. He didn't contribute a ton, but periodically he would jump in there.
Mm-hmm.
And
hold on one second, Neely. Let's put one other point out there about Chuck. Chuck lived at least an hour from the studio.
He lived way up in Menor
or past there, like almost near Geneva.
Yeah, so he lived an hour away.
At least an hour from the studio.
Okay.
But he came down every Saturday night and then drove home at 4 in the morning.
Yeah, he didn't get home till like 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
So, Chuck was a good guy, or I'm assuming he still is a good guy. I haven't seen him since our CMS night out.
Yeah.
But he contributed to music's bottom line. He distributed the magazine. He would go to shows. He would do interviews. He would do reviews.
Mm-hmm.
It's like an escape for him.
Yeah.
So Chris and I just started riffing on Chuck for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
And here's a little taste of that.
WSTV, the classic metal show. It's Dokken from the Erase the Slate release with the title track. Just before that, we heard Don with his Nuts in a Vice on Paris is Burning.
Hey, can you say that on the air?
Yeah, Nuts in a Vice.
Yes.
Paris is Burning, the live track, never recorded as a studio release. What are you doing, little Mike? You're over there whacking it.
He's swinging.
He's like, Paris is burning. Woo! Paris is burning. Chunga, chunga, chunga. Wee!
He felt that. Something rising up from looking at that Excel. But
and that wasn't the Phoenix Rising either.
Hope he isn't into sword fighting.
Hey, I'm not the one that goes. Wait a minute, I'm not the one that goes to Lakewood.
Well, your buddy Tracy.
Come on, little Mike, do an arm lock with Neely. Come on, do an arm lock with Neely.
Nice. Eesh. Unbelievable. Yuck.
Tossing that acceptee.
You said tossing what?
Well, he was in Lakewood today.
Who was? Chuck?
No, I wasn't.
I wasn't.
I swear, honey, I was not in Lakewood. I swear. That lipstick around my Johnson.
You said
that lipstick around my Johnson.
And I almost said dick, and then I was like, ooh, I gotta watch.
I know, my Johnson.
John.
I just wanted to look pretty for you.
I did it for you. The lengths I'll go to keep you happy.
So there we are with the keeping the chicks happy.
And telling dick jokes on FCC radio.
How long you been married, man?
How long were you married, Chuck?
Were you married, man? How long were you married?
Get me in trouble.
He's a good man. You're a good man, Charlie Brown.
Hey, just because you have 30 kids.
Chuck's got 9. We love that. I love that.
So you were making references to salty dog.
Yeah, the cat's got 9. Chuck's
Yeah.
got 9.
Chuck's got 9. We were just like, I can't believe you're banging out another kid.
Yeah, he was crazy with the kids.
Yeah. And he kept telling us, well, it's the wife. She wants another one.
Yeah.
And it's like, did you ever stop to say no?
Yeah. And then he got divorced. I cannot imagine that went well for him.
Oh yeah, he walked away from that totally.
Yeah.
Because when we saw him, and he always looked like Kid Rock. I mean, he literally looked like Kid Rock with the long hair and everything.
Mm-hmm.
He came out to that CMS night out with us.
Yeah.
And he's like knocking on the window before we even opened for the show.
Right.
And neither one of us recognized him.
No, he looked like Bob Seger.
Yeah. It was like, who is this? And he literally walked up to me and goes, you don't know who I am, do you? And I'm like, look at it like, who the fuck are you?
Fuck are you, shitwad?
Yeah, exactly. I was just thinking of that.
And he goes,
in unison.
He's like, it's Chuck. I was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he aged like 30 years in like 5.
He did.
Yeah, I saw a photo of him, I don't know, a year or so ago, and he still looks like the old guy, but now he's got like the porn stash grown into. It's really, it's quite a look. I don't know what he's doing, or I haven't talked to him in forever, but and I like Chuck. I don't know how we just kind of fell out with Chuck. I don't think we fell out. I think we just
fell out. He just kind of like, he was
drifted away.
He was just in flux, but he came out to the CMS night out with some new chick, or a chick that he went to high school with.
Yeah.
And, you know, I went over and I was talking to him and I was just like, dude, what the fuck happened with the wife and the kids? Because I think he had like 8 at that time or something. And he was just like, yeah, dude, I had to get out of that situation. That was just driving me fucking insane.
Oh,
I cannot imagine what his support payments had.
Yeah. I mean, they had to just be like crippling, and boy, quite a catch a dude like that for a young chick, you know, just looking at date and whatnot.
Well,
he had to have that chick just to live with her.
Well, his new chick,
yeah,
was telling me about, you know, well, you know, I know the whole situation and I know her and she's just fucking crazy and she just ran him into the ground and she was all defensive and stuff about Chuck. And I was just like, wow.
Yeah, it was, she may have known it, but she should have been fucking scared to death of his dick. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, a hot weapon, right?
That guy could take a piss and get a toilet pregnant.
So here's Chris and I, mostly Chris, ad-libbing back for more of Chuck in Lakewood. Here we go.
88.9 WSTV, the classic metal show. It's Rat with the back for more. And we're out of here.
The back of the whore. It's the back of the whore.
Nice.
I creamed her back.
Wow.
The back of that whore. She lives in Lakewood. Oh. The back of...
She lives in Lakewood.
She lives in Lakewood. How did I wedge that in?
And you can hear Chuck going, oh!
Wow, Chris got the whole thing down there for you. You know, he's ad-libbing that. That's not really a song, believe it or not.
Yeah, how about that? That's not the original lyrics.
Well, you know what? Since Chris was in the mood and he came up with some great lyrics, we're going to get out of here and we're going to leave you peaceful. So before I announce
here's Cannibal Corpse.
That's right.
Mummified in barbed wire.
Before I get out of here...
Cannibal Corpse, mummified in barbed wire.
Oh yeah, you wanted to go out peaceful. That was something you did, the going out peaceful for years, probably half the life of the show at least.
It was sort of like a little gimmick thing.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, even the online show for years ended with "Let's go out peaceful. Here's ballad by whoever."
And again, but this kind of started with the show because, and I'll tell you how that started. And this was actually brought up to me this week, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
One of the most popular songs that I played on the show was Vandenberg, "Burning Heart."
Right.
And I had some chick fans, and they loved that song.
Sure.
And it was like, could you like end the show with "Burning Heart," man?
Yeah.
And so I kind of like picked up this whole gimmick of ending the show peaceful with like a ballad, so I like play "Alone Again," "Burning Heart," something like that. And yeah, it kind of became like a tradition,
right?
And I did that for a long time. You're right.
Yeah. It was good stuff. I mean, it was always fun because we, especially later, and I guess it was still early in this development at Laser Wolf time.
Yeah, well, the show at this point was only 5 years old.
Yeah, but by the time we got to internet and me and you started doing it together and whatnot, it was always funny once we started riffing a lot because we'd be going 100 miles an hour at 3 o'clock. And then it was like, okay, we would be cracking the fuck up and we'd be laughing we would be laughing so hard at some of these dirt talk segments or talking metal segments or whatever that both of us would be holding our ribs hurting.
Yeah.
Literally hurting from laughing so hard. And then you would end the show with "Love Bites" by Def Leppard.
Yeah. So you had to like cool it down or something.
Yeah. It was like, okay, we're going to go and pass out if we don't slow it down here. Too fun, man.
Sure. All right, here we go.
Make sure you pick up the new Bottom Line with Jim Tomatrader on the.
That's when Jim Tomey left Cleveland Indians and went to the Philadelphia Phillies.
Or was it the Phillies or White? I think it was the Phillies. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the Phillies. He didn't go to the
Yeah.
White Sox until after the Phillies.
Yeah. And I went crazy.
Yeah, because the Indians at the time, because Jim Tomey was the big, huge, star of the baseball team, and the Indians offered him the same deal.
Yeah.
If I remember right, as the Philadelphia Phillies, and he elected the Phillies over the Indians, and they were just like, "You fucking traitor, you fucking
Yeah. And I was one of them for sure.
And you featured him on the front of the cover. It's just like "Traitor, Jim Tomatrader."
Yep.
I remember that. In fact, I might even have that copy.
Yeah, if I remember right, we got in trouble for using that photo too, because it was like not licensed photo.
Jim Tomatrader.
Yeah, if I remember right, I did get a phone call from the Indians organization telling me not to use that image anymore.
Yeah, well, it's too late. It's on 20,000 copies already.
So. Already out, so you're gonna have to sue me.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Take my mortgage or take my rent at the time. I didn't even own my house yet.
Fuck. The cover, or check it out online, www.mblzine.com. I want to thank Giannino's Pizza here in Streetsboro at the Streetsboro Plaza for tossing us a pie.
All right. So there was a local pizza shop.
Yes.
At just within Streetsboro, and they used to listen to the CMS.
Mm-hmm.
And every week, without fail, they would call the CMS, the WSTB studio line, and go, "Hey, can we bring you a pizza?" Right. And all they wanted was just some mention on the show. And I'm just like, yeah, fuck yeah, bring me a deluxe. and within 30 minutes, they would bring me a deluxe pizza. And Giannino's Pizzas was good. Are they still around?
Giannino's? Yeah, they're still around.
Yeah, they were a good pizza.
Mm-hmm.
And they'd bring me a large pizza every week.
Yeah, they did make good pizza.
No, not for any reason, just for saying, "Hey, Giannino's Pizza." Yeah. I didn't ask for it. I didn't call them. They called me and they said, "Yeah, we'll bring you free free pizza. So we had free pizza in the
Every
studio.
week, yeah.
Every week they'd bring us a pizza.
Yeah.
So that was always cool. So I'd always give them a plug at the end of the night. So here you go.
That pie, little Mike, was it any
Little
good?
hairy, little hairy.
How was that pie, little Mike and Chris, a little hairy?
Always pervy.
A little hairy pie. Fur pie.
Fur pie.
Love it.
Knows Pizza here in Streetsboro at the Streetsboro Plaza for tossing us a pie. How was that pie, little Mike? Was it any
Little
good?
hairy, little hairy.
That's Chuck laughing in the background.
Well, they couldn't believe that I was saying, these dirty things on the CMS.
You're horrible, Chris.
I know. They were horrified. They thought I was going to get it canceled, I think.
I know. It's a shocking radio. Shocking.
How old was little Mike at the time?
He was 28, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was about 28.
Oh, I thought you were talking about law school Mike that I met at
No,
Cleon's thing. I'm sorry.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, this kid, I call him a kid because he's about 10 years younger than me at the time.
Yeah.
But he was kind of like an awkward guy, socially awkward, but he loved his music. He knew his bands. He loved his music. And he just called me up one day out of the blue. And he was just like, man, could I come down and kind of hang out with you in the studio? I'd love to, check out your CDs and stuff. And that, that's what he was really into. He was just like a music guy, but he was really socially awkward. He just had no social graces at all. And, whatever, but that was his thing. And I was just like, yeah, I could kind of use somebody kind of help me out with picking out music and picking out CDs, because I was playing the show totally on CDs, not MP3s. And I literally was bringing in hundreds of CDs on a weekly basis.
You had to see this setup. It was so the studio itself, if you can paint this picture in your mind, the middle of it there was like a board that was set up in the middle. And then on the sides, were just countertops. Neeley would lay out CD books
in alphabetical order.
And there was 7 or 10 or something of them.
Yeah.
And each book had like 250 CDs in it.
Yeah. This was before ripping MP3s and all that. I literally carried the physical CD into the studio every week.
And when he's talking about that, for you people that are watching on CMS TV, it's every one of those CDs that's behind him.
That is absolutely true.
It was every single one of those CDs were in a book that you brought to the station every week.
True.
You used to have to come in, about 45 minutes early just to set it up.
Yeah, just to get it all laid out, just so I could have it in alphabetical order, so I could, have fairly quick access. Yeah. And for all intents and purposes, little Mike acted sort of as an intern, because while I was running the board and, running the show, and I needed to pick a CD, he would flip through the books and find that disc so I could, put it up in the CD player and actually play it.
Yeah, you would just kind of call it out, Cinderella, Long Cold Winter.
Yeah, and he would dig it out and bring it to me, and I'd pop it in the player and get it queued up and ready to go. This was before technology.
Yeah, exactly.
But that was the most modern technology at that time.
Sure was, yeah.
So I had to actually play physical product. And little Mike helped me out a lot in that regard.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Strange meat on it, but it tasted good.
All right, let's back that up. So little Mike is commenting on the Giannino's pizza. Chris calling it a little hairy. Little Mike saying that it had some strange meat on it, but it tasted pretty good.
Plaza for tossing us a pie. How was that pie, little Mike? Was it any
Little
good?
hairy, little hairy. It had some strange meat on it, but it tasted good. I don't know what kind of meat that was, and I really don't want to either. But it was a pretty good pie.
Had a little bit of swollen ham there on the sides, but you know.
A little bit of swollen ham on the sides.
Arby's.
Yeah, if Bob Long would have heard this, that would have been the end of the show.
What kind of swollen ham were you talking about, Chris?
Well, I don't know.
Oh boy.
Swollen ham.
A little swollen ham on the side.
Can't remember. It was 18 years ago.
But that's the genesis of where the show started getting, you know, the banter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm gonna play that a little bit again, and we'll go see where this goes.
All right.
Meat on it, but it tasted good. I don't know what kind of meat that was, and I really don't want to either. But it was a pretty good pie.
Had a little bit of swollen ham there on the sides, but you know.
You know,
I don't think it had been through the meat grinder.
Yeah, it didn't go through the meat grinder, but you get your pie in Lakewood.
Oh,
I want to know about that.
I think I'll be.
Inside joke, but now I know. It's fucking funny.
If you get your pie in Lakewood, but we don't really want to know about that.
Fucking A.
Wow.
Just kidding. I think I'll be cutting an MP3 of that for the Classic Metal Show website tonight.
So order up some Giannino's Pizza from the Streetsboro Plaza, 330-626-9999. Thank you very much. Check out the Classic Metal Show website throughout the week, www.theclassicmetalshow.com. Mr. Aiken will have tonight's show up online by tomorrow evening, as always. At least I think he will, unless he's sleeping. He looks like he's ready for sleep.
I'll have the first one running before I go to bed tonight.
All right.
First of 8 tapes.
So if you missed any part of the show tonight, you can hear it all online on the classicmetalshow.com.
So back in 2002, we were literally podcasting the show.
Yeah. Before it was a thing.
Yeah, before it was a thing.
Yeah.
So,
I was telling the Decibel Geek guys about how long ago we were doing the podcasts and how I had to hand code everything and I had to teach myself. I mean, we were really podcasting about as soon as Adam Curry invented it.
well, even before Adam Curry invented it.
Yeah, because we were doing the stream thing first.
Yeah.
And then once podcasting became a thing, then we were doing that too.
Yeah, but we were doing, you were already doing it before Adam Curry actually made it a thing.
Not podcasting, but
well, I mean, for the most
streaming.
part, yeah, streaming, but in reality, what we were doing was like the earliest form of podcasting.
It was on-demand streaming way before there was anything.
True.
Remember all those dumb players we used to have to use, Divx, and
yeah, you had to use the Real Player.
Real Player, and then I would have to. I had these huge files that would take forever to fucking save, and then I had to save them in different formats in case people were using Windows Media or they were using.
Yeah, it was like .ram .wav
ESX. There's all this bullshit that's nowhere to be found anymore. But yeah, and that was a long time ago, man.
Yeah, it was 18 years ago.
I just remember sitting in front of that computer, getting an earful of bullshit from the wife, and then being, because I was working on the CMS on Sunday,
right?
And then we would finish, and then as soon as I finished, like, well, gotta go because I had to go do the metal show on Sunday night.
I remember.
So it was literally no time for you, honey. And I wonder why she left.
Right. You drove her out.
Yeah, somehow I don't think that's completely accurate.
Not from what I read on radio books.
All right.
I think that's it. Any more plugs? Any shows? Anything?
No.
Nothing going on?
No.
All right. Well,
Enough's enough. December 20th.
that's right. We'll have to get back
Parma,
with Chip and
which is-
see what's up with him.
That's
see,
in Parma.
see, you just interviewed Chip this week.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are 20 years later, and we're still interviewing Chip.
Sadly, our guest circle hasn't grown much.
Yeah,
Same guys 20 years later.
yeah. But Chip has always been great.
Oh, he's the best. I love him.
Yes, we saw him back in October opening up for Tom Kiefer.
Dude, doesn't that seem like 100 years ago now?
It does, and you know the thing is Chip. You know he's not a mega rock star, but he's a name. And you know I go back there at the foyer area of that what is it, the Goodyear Theater.
Yeah, the Goodyear Theater, right?
And he's just out there taking pictures, signing autographs, all kinds of stuff. I walk up and he says, "Oh, Neeley, my brother."
Hey, brother.
And he just like totally just like stops everything to say hello to me. And it was just like, wow, dude, you never change, man. You always look the same.
Yeah. Dude, you look just like you did 22 years ago,
That's
man.
exactly what he says too. The funniest fucking thing.
Dude, you want to know how slow and miserable this year is? Do you realize that, what is it now, July? So do you realize that we went to the Bow Wow Wow thing
In January.
February?
Yeah, February.
I pulled my ticket.
Pre-COVID, right before this
It was
bullshit.
right before COVID.
Uh-huh.
I pulled my ticket out of my wallet this week. I was cleaning out my wallet full of shit, and I found the ticket. It was like February 8th or something. And I was like, holy shit, this was like right before the world ended.
Yeah.
And it seems like that seems like that was 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Dude, this fucking year sucks 10 dicks.
Yeah. Well, Sal and I went to that show, and I was showing him some photos from that show just today.
Yeah.
And it was just like, here we are at the House of Blues in Chicago with our good friend Eric Ferentinos and Bow Wow Wow. And it's like, holy shit, dude.
Yeah.
I enjoyed immensely hanging out with Eric and Dinsey and
that was fun.
And When in Rome guy, whatever his name is.
Rome guy.
What's funny is Chip brought him up. Chip is friends with that guy.
Yeah, I know he is.
And Chip brought him up in the interview that I did with him. And I didn't say anything to it because I didn't know the guy's name, and I didn't want to call him When in Rome guy.
Yeah. well, when he was here, when the When in Rome guy and Bow Wow Wow and Motels were here, we brought up Chip, and he was just like, yeah, you know, Chip usually comes out to the show. And I said, well, did you call him? He goes, yeah, I don't think he's in town right now. I think he's like out in Vegas or somewhere. Right. And he goes, yeah, I worked with Chip for like a lot of years. He's like produced my music and all that kind of stuff, you know? So he goes, but you know, if he was in town, he'd probably be here tonight.
I like that guy. That guy was cool after he got over kicking us out of the room for a minute so he could change.
When in Rome guy.
But I still don't know his name. He was just When in Rome guy.
Yeah, I didn't get it either.
I don't think I ever knew his name. I don't ever think anybody ever said, hey, this is Charlie or Bill or what his name is.
Charlie or
Charlie.
Bill.
I don't know what his name is. It's When in Rome guy. I have to look it up now. When in Rome guy. When in Rome. Even I guess I got to look up band because there's a movie.
Yeah, exactly.
And let's see. Is it Michael Florielli or John Saravolo or Chris Willett?
Who knows?
He's still When in Rome guy, even when we're looking at the fucking names.
He had an English accent. With those Italian names you just ripped off. I don't know if is that the right?
Well, When in Rome 2. That's who we saw. All right, it must be John Saravolo.
Really?
Because he's the vocalist.
Okay.
That was the guy with the beard, right? A little bit of a beard. Fuck it, who knows? It's when in Rome, guy. Why are we arguing this point?
We hung backstage and only actually went out for Bow Wow Wow, right? Neil?
Yeah, we didn't even get to see motels. We just heard them.
No.
I saw like 20 minutes of that old lady and was like, that's enough.
Who invited somebody's grandmother? Fucking sorry.
With the military hat and everything that she was wearing, she looked like Udo's mom. She just looked like some old bag.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Sounded good. She definitely sounded good, but
sounded like she did, 30 plus years ago, but boy.
Yeah.
Didn't age well.
Right. The 82 video brought a tear to my eye because she was actually hot back then.
Yeah. Now she looks like a fucking candidate for a COVID death in a nursing home.
I don't know how she's fucking touring. Please.
Yeah, she did all right. I mean, from what we heard, it sounded pretty good.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Here, let's finish this up.
All right. Yeah. Revolution.
Isn't that next to Lakewood?
I think so. Chuck ought to feel right at home
Did you
up
have
there.
a date for that show, Chuck?
He's working.
What are you working on?
He's working the street corner that night. Hey, fella, you want a date? Hey, big fella.
Come on in here, honey. Let's listen to some Accept together.
The Sunday.
I thought the name Bobby was a girl's name.
You just busted on Chuck.
Just killing him.
I thought Bobby was a girl's name. Hanging out in the street corner in Lakewood. So we got into the whole gay joke stuff.
We did.
Oh my God.
People in the chat room are whining because we've covered this before. So I say we cover it some more.
Yeah. Fuck you.
I say another 30 minutes.
A run.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. But anyway, little history there. It was just kind of fun to relive that.
It was awesome.
Yeah. Do your own show, you fucking whiny bitches.
Yeah, you don't have 25 years of history to cover, so fuck you.
Exactly. Would you rather us talk some more politics, cunt faces? Would you rather us do that? You want to talk some more COVID? Is that what you want to hear? You fucking dickheads.
And as much as they pay for that's right, it's free. Sorry.
Let's talk about more looting and rioting then. Let's go to that topic. That sounds like a fun thing to talk about again. Let's do that. Where's Jackyl with his smashing guitar from his pilgrim faggot? We need it. Let's get right to it. Come on. Shut up. If we're boring you, leave. Go somewhere else. Don't ever fucking come back. It won't hurt our feelings. Eddie Trunk is begging for you to subscribe to his podcast.
Right.
Go right ahead. Jamie Josta is ready for you.
Ooh.
Of course, Hatebreed Singer. He's ready. Go subscribe to a shitty podcast like the Aftershocks podcast.
That'll learn you.
All right. Well, let's play a few tunes. We'll come back. We'll wrap up the show. What do you think?
All right. Sounds good.
Got something in mind you'd like to hear?
I do, actually.
All right.
It is a band, since I mentioned Aftershocks, it's a band I interviewed on Aftershocks, myself and Matt. I think it's going to actually air or whatever you call it, release it.
It's always about you and Matt.
It is. It's always about us. But the band is called Moss Generator, M-O-S Generator. And the name of the song is Shadowlands.
All right.
And it's
not talking Shadow Life.
No, definitely that.
No.
Moss Generator Shadowlands.
It's not big generator.
No, it sounds like the Watchers or Fu Manchu or one of those things.
Kind of doomy metal stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Doomy stoner thing.
Cookie Monster vocals? No.
No, regular vocals.
Cool.
All right. Well, here's Moss, not Moss tequila, but Moss Generator.
Right.
And this is Shadowlands exclusively here
On your classic metal show.